My name is Josh Silverman, CEO of Aromyx, so appreciate the time and opportunity to pitch here today. I think this will be a little bit of a switch from the previous one. So we are a technology, biotech, and data company, not a brand product. So our mission is to generate quantitative data that actually connects human perception of taste and smell to products. And what we see this as a major pain point in the industry, where an industry that's very dependent on subjective human data to design, market, and basically communicate your products to other people. And the data that comes from that is very vague, variable, difficult to reproduce. So what we do is we provide objective quantitative data on taste and smell, which leads to very actionable insights, both in product formulation, marketing, and online communications. So our technology is based on the receptors in the human nose. So when you taste something, when you smell something, it is a collection of chemicals that you are inhaling into your nose, and it binds to certain receptors. So, the human nose literally is one of the most sensitive chemical detectors on the planet. We can detect part per trillion differences in individual chemicals in a background of thousands of unrelated chemicals. And we interpret that as taste and smell. But at the end of the day, it's really a very sensitive chemical detector. Now, while we are incredibly good at detecting these differences, so if I give you 2 different cups of coffee from different parts of the world, you can absolutely tell me that they're different. When I start asking you why they're different, how much they're different, everything goes out the window, right? And then we get into very subjective descriptors and trying to make any kind of decision on which coffee is better than the other. How should I blend to make one coffee more like another one becomes very, very difficult and very imprecise. So what Aromyx does is we take out that subjective middleman of using the human as the reporter and asking somebody, what do they think this tastes like? And instead we use a biotechnology approach. We clone the actual receptors out of the human nose and tongue, and we put them on a platform where we can measure the response of each individual receptor when it's exposed to a taste or flavor. So this is exactly the same raw data that's going from your nose and tongue to your brain when you taste or smell something. And so rather than, again, asking somebody what they think of it, we are measuring the raw data from the bottoms up, which allows us to get much more quantitative, reproducible data and much more actionable insights. So sorry, I can't use the keyboard for that. So the key pain point here that we're solving in the food and beverage space in particular is this one here. So there are, and we saw a few examples of that today, new brands coming into the marketplace, lots of new brands being introduced every year, 30,000 new products every year around the world. On average, this costs $1.5 million to develop a new product, get it into the marketplace, can take 2 to 3 years of R&D cycle. And yet, even when the products are well understood with very large global brands who have been doing this introduction of products for 100 years, and sometimes more in some of these cases, there is still an 80% failure rate. So 80% of these 30,000 products introduced every year are not on the market a year later. And we think that is maybe not entirely due to taste and flavor, but certainly a very big part. Consumers buy things that taste good to them. And these companies that are introducing these products, every single one of them probably thought that this was a great product. It always tastes good to them, tastes good to the person who formulated it. But whether a consumer is going to like it or not is a complete shot in the dark, etc. So that is what's bringing this 80% failure rate. This is a $36 billion money hole every year. And this is something where we can bring actionable insights and we can dramatically improve this. One of our customers has told us, they think with our data, they can take their product development cycle from 18 months down to 9 months. So very dramatic, more shots on goal, reduced price, better efficiency, better success rate when it gets into the marketplace. Just to show you, the proof is in the pudding, as it were. So we have continued to grow dramatically. So even in COVID times, with the lab shut down for a quarter of the year, we were able to grow our revenue 700% last year. We booked over $2 million in all of 2020, and now we've booked $2.6 million in Q1 2021. So we're definitely on a strong growth trajectory. And you can see both the total revenues growing. We see our price per project, the size of the project going. We have about an 80% re-engagement rate for customers who come in and do an initial test with us. They almost 80% of the time they want to go in and do more, and typically the projects get bigger and bigger as they get more familiar with the data. Just in terms of the value proposition, again, we are solving a major pain point. Our primary competition is the human tasting panel, and at the moment we are achieving about a 3x price premium relative to that standard in the industry, which again, to me, is the biggest proof point that the data we're providing is very valuable to our customers. And just to get to the raise, so we are raising a Series A at the moment. Our target is $8 million. This gets us to profitability by next year, if not this year. Again, we are actually tracking ahead of our revenue expectations in the first quarter. So I'm not quite ready to change our projections yet, but we're on a very good trajectory. Our key use of proceeds here is automation and scaling. So our problem at the moment is we have a pipeline of customers that is more than we can handle. Our labs are backed up, fully booked through June, and we're pushing off customers who are knocking on the door today. So we need to bring in more automation, expand our capacity to be able to execute on the pipeline we have, and be able to build on more diagnostic platforms. So with that, I will stop, hopefully leave some time for questions, and thanks for your time.